Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another one of CCA's interview, which is part of our outreach series. As some of you may know already, my name is Aaliyah. I am a CCA intern and a junior at St. Peter's University in Jersey City, New Jersey. I am majoring in biology, aspiring to become a craniofacial surgeon. I too was born with a facial difference, as you guys know already, called Golden Heart Syndrome that came with a long road of surgeries, therapies, and a lot of rehabilitation. Which you guys know already, it never stopped me from achieving any of my goals. So today I am joined with Erica. Erica is the executive director for CCA. She has served CCA in the past as a board member and volunteer. She brings her experience from the fields of higher education and business development to CCA to help continue the strong 30-year legacy of empowering and giving hope to families affected by facial differences. Erica seeks to find new ways to connect our community and help make the world a kinder place. Welcome, Erica. It is a pleasure to have you on our series. Thank you for joining and sharing your time with us.
Thank you so much, Aaliyah. I love the opportunity to get to do this. So thank you for having me. I've
Of
enjoyed
course.
the series so much.
Thank you so much. I just love doing this, so thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
So, perhaps to start us off, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background as the executive director for CCA?
Yeah, my pleasure. So, where does one start? Well, I'll start at the beginning of my journey. Just quickly and briefly. When I was born, my mom didn't notice anything different. And I had some symptoms develop probably about 18 months old. My mom noticed some growths on the inside of my jaw. And so that really kicked off my whole next 20 something years of trying to find out what was going on. And so we went to doctor after doctor. And I always like to say, we were so fortunate because my mom had really good insurance at the time, and we were able to just get referrals to see the next doctor. So that was the positive part. The negative part was those doctors never had any answers.
Right.
So they would propose ideas and solutions, and a lot of times they didn't work. So had some unnecessary surgeries, lots of frustrations. And then as I grew, the problems just kept getting worse. I had tumors that grew on my lip, in my ear, on my jaw and chin, bones. So it was kind of just a mixed bag of things that never really fit together.
Yeah.
But I'll skip over a lot of it. I got to college, and by that time, I actually couldn't open my mouth more than like 2 centimeters, because the bones had grown over one another like a hook.
Right.
And that is where I eventually went on to meet a CCA board member. I had graduated from the University of Alabama at that time, but I was still in Tuscaloosa, and Tony Davis, he was a board member. We met just randomly, and he said, "Oh, do you have a craniofacial syndrome?" And I had never heard that word before. Out of all the places we've been to Mayo Clinic, we've been to Vanderbilt, we've been all over the country, and I'd never heard the word craniofacial. And Tony said it, and I was like, "Wait a minute, that sounds like a word I need to know." And
Right.
that was the end of one part of the journey, one chapter, and the beginning of another. That's how I met CCA. That's how I finally hooked up with a craniofacial surgeon who,
Right.
a few years later, I had a very successful surgery. And what really was important to me, a little bit about myself, is that when I found CCA, I didn't just find surgery, I didn't just find an answer to my medical problems. I found a new family, like that
Right.
filled a void that I didn't even know I had. It was instant understanding and acceptance. And that really made a difference because I kind of always grew up feeling like I was on the outside looking in, like I was just
Right.
a little bit different or a lot
Right.
different sometimes. And so
Right.
that radical acceptance is what changed my life. And I've been
Yeah.
with CCA ever since in any capacity that they would have me.
Yes. By the way, girl, you look so good. Like you don't even. Oh, you're so
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you. So do
Thank
you.
thank you. Thank you. But yeah, I love that story. I kind of relate to you because I never heard of craniofacial either when I was growing up. Never ever.
Mhm.
So when like I want to say like heard about it, I think like I was at the age of like 16 And I
Yeah.
was trying to, like, I was like at the point, like, trying to understand like my syndrome and like, the differences. And then my surgeon was like, oh, craniofacial. I'm like, craniofacial? Craniofacial? What's that? Is he talking about me? So yeah, so I was just like,
Exactly. It's like
yeah,
you can go, and that's crazy. You even had a syndrome, but you still never heard the larger word for the community.
right,
It's crazy. That's why we do what we do.
right, right. Well, definitely. So how long have you been with CCA?
So I think I started, let me see if I can get my timelines right. I know I started as staff in 2015, but I
Yeah.
believe I got introduced around 2007, 2008, and I jumped in volunteering right around those years. So it was
Wow.
really around 2008 is when I got involved, and then yeah, I became staff in 2015.
Yes, I love the projects like you have been doing for our community. Like Encounter, that was amazing. I loved it.
Encounter was
Uh,
exciting. Thank you.
yeah, I really love that. So, may you tell us what's the main responsibilities of an executive director?
That is an excellent question. And I like sharing this because people are interested in this as a career. And I myself, of course, you want to do something you love. And
Right.
so I love that it is never the same each day. There
Mhm.
are things I have to do every year, and there are things I have to do every week. But day to day, being an executive director is trying to balance. I don't know if you know that old like image of people spinning plates in the circus. Like that's what
Yes.
it's like. You're spinning plates.
Yes.
So you've got to balance the future of the organization, you've
Yeah.
got to balance the day to day, and then
Right.
you've got to manage all of the fires that have to be put out. So, when the
Mhm.
pressure goes down, somebody's got to figure out how to re-network it. At a
Right.
nonprofit, you don't have an IT person. That's you. Sometimes, the IRS is like, we didn't receive your tax return because we were all on the pandemic break. And then you
Right.
have to be the one to call the IRS and sit on hold for 8 hours to make sure that they locate your return. Those
Right.
are some of the non-glamorous parts. But
Mhm.
that's intermixed between getting to travel to fundraisers that folks have and see people I've never met before giving so generously because they believe in our mission. So
Right.
it is definitely all sorts of experiences. I love, love, love knowing that everything I do directly impacts how many families we're able to serve.
Right.
So I'm
Mhm.
like very judicious about let's not waste these stamps. We cannot waste
Right.
stamps. I'm very much attuned to the minor details.
Yeah.
And being in an organization of our size, that's
Yeah.
we're able to do that. So that's kind of what being an executive director is. It's the big
Mhm.
stuff and the small stuff all day, every day. And it's a lot like being a business owner, because
Right.
you live and breathe what you do. And it is it's amazing privilege and an amazing responsibility to
It is.
do all of that. But yeah, so if you like accounting, if you like being a visionary, and you like being a helper, you're not afraid to get your hands dirty, but you can clean them up well when you got to go on stage at a big fundraiser, then being
Right.
an executive director is is what it's
Yes.
all about.
No, your position is really amazing. Like you're like basically the head, like the boss, like you said, like you're the owner. So I love everything you do for CCA. It's just, yeah. Oh, you got me nervous.
Oh, no, no. Well, thank you. And I mean, it is like, I will definitely say it is you have to be the person to take the responsibility, but
Yeah.
you also cannot do it all alone.
No.
Because if you're spinning all those plates, you're gonna
Right.
drop some. So
Yes, you need
it's
people to pick it up. Yeah, help you.
exactly. And you need
Mhm.
people to help you. And we have an amazing board of directors. So executive directors typically report to their board. And
Mhm.
that's exciting. If you thought having one boss was hard, try having 12. Just kidding.
Oh.
No, we
Oh.
have a wonderful board, but you really have to make sure that you're taking everybody's perspectives and you
Right.
are saying, you know what, you have this vested interest in our organization, and I believe your voice is important. So let me figure
It
out a
is.
way to incorporate your suggestion. And that's
Right.
the same with not just our board, not just our fundraisers, but also the families that we're serving alongside of.
Right.
CCA is an organization of families helping families primarily.
Mhm.
I'm
Right.
always amazed, and it's amazing to tell other nonprofits that we're not this group of people serving a different group of people.
Right.
CA is everybody helping each other, and that's very unique. And a lot of times I've talked in other like executive director groups, and they're like, wow, that's such a different model. And it is, and
Yeah.
it's very exciting to be a part of something where everybody who's involved is
Right.
really closely related to the cause. So yeah,
Yes.
it's not just me, it's me trying to create that forum and hear everybody and put it together so that we grow everybody's needs.
Yes, which you are completing to do. Like once I joined CCA, like I connected so many people with CCA too. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like
Thank
my
you.
yes, of course, my whole family's like, oh my God, Ali, this is such a beautiful community you have. And like they're so like, excited for me because they can see like the big things and all this stuff like we're doing to help people with differences or disabilities or anything, which is very rare because I don't really hear about it like in social media or like,
Mhm.
on TV or anything that promotes differences and in us. So like I love what you're doing and like the community again, is just amazing. Uh,
Absolutely. And you bring up a good point. Like you brought this to your family, and CCA does
yes.
try to serve parents,
Yeah.
siblings,
Right.
grandparents. Like it's so important because everybody has some role in this. And it's
Right.
great when you can find another parent or another sibling,
Right.
not just the person with the difference themselves, finding
Yeah.
another person like them. So, yeah, good point.
Right. Because they've been through the journey with me, so why not bring them along? Exactly.
100%.
Yeah. So what is a typical day like for you?
Yeah, so a typical day, that's really a good question. A typical non-traveling day, it's definitely come in, I have a rotating to-do list. I just copy
Right.
it over every every week, I'll be honest, because as an executive director, other nonprofit employees out there are like, yep, that to-do list never gets completely done, but
Right.
you keep moving it along.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just check in with our strategies, and depending on what time of year it is, there's
Right.
always the next thing to plan. Sometimes we're looking forward to an upcoming golf tournament, or we're looking
Mhm.
forward to our upcoming retreat. So every day
Yeah.
is a little bit mixture of event planning, almost
Right.
always. Then I try to have time to do a little bit of accounting every day just to keep up
Mhm.
with that. And bookkeeping is more bookkeeping than accounting.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's got to be some time in there to practice gratitude. So I like to try to send one thank you note or a thank you email or an acknowledgement of some sort every day. It doesn't always happen, but I try
Yeah.
to work that in because, like I said, while it's like being a business owner, you're not selling anything.
No.
You're helping people accomplish their philanthropic goals. So
Right.
I've got to make sure that I express my gratitude to
Right.
everyone.
Right.
And yeah, it's just trying again not to let any office technology go down or any, any technological difficulties, avoiding those, and just making sure that our staff members, Khadijah, Annie, and Christine, that they have what they need. And then at least once a week, I like to do this before I had the baby. I like to do this. I would have like a time where I would run or ride my bike or do some
Yeah.
kind of like physical outlet. And I would use that time to really creatively vision, like what
Mhm.
is somewhere I'm stuck, and just doing that physical movement and thinking about that problem would a lot of times help me come up with a solution, or
Right.
if not, it at least helped me get rid of some of the like heaviness about it. And I'm like, I'm going to move through
Right.
and we're going to get through it. So yeah, having some movement in there is important, but I will be 100% honest. Getting back after having a little one is a big adjustment. And so we're
Oh,
figuring out what those days look like now because there's
yeah. I can totally understand because what's it called? My mom, she had 4 children, and oh my gosh,
it's
yes, she's still out here working and everything. But you have a little one? Like you have a daughter or a son?
I do. I have a daughter.
What's her name?
Her name is Merritt. and she's almost 10 months old.
Oh my God. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Well, like you mentioned previously, like just doing some like, exercising, sports activity. I love it. With my brothers, just get my mind off things, and it does help me create ideas and, brainstorm what I have to do next. So
It's
I
so
totally agree with this.
yes.
Yeah. I love that. Other than like, physical activities, like is there any other hobbies like you're like any interest in mine you like do like when you take a break from work?
Oh yes. I love hiking.
Yeah.
That I got to do some of that recently. Hiking is a really good. That's still kind of physical activity, but it's, it's a little bit different. It's seeing new places and just being out in nature in general. Whether
Right.
it's walking, sitting in a park. I think that's so important, especially as wonderful as social media and technology is. It's also important to be like grounded in nature. It
Right.
it helps you kind of reset and remember that we're tiny little small pieces on this big planet. So I love that. I like
Mm.
hanging out with my mean little dog. We were talking about our dogs before we started recording.
Yes, yes,
My
yes,
mean little dog Rigby, any chance I get to give her extra attention is good.
yes. But yeah. But anyways, yeah, like nature, like I love nature so much. Like I feel like it's like a escape for me to like just to find myself sometimes. Just reset on things. It really is.
100%. Yes.
So
Yes.
I love when you said that. Yeah.
What's your favorite season?
My favorite season, I will have to say summer.
Oh, summer girl.
Summer, I have to say, because no school. So
Ah.
yeah, I would have to say that. Yeah,
That's
summer,
the
no
only
school.
time you have to enjoy nature.
Exactly. They got me locked up. But yeah, how about you?
I it's a toss up between spring and fall, but I think it's spring because
Hmm.
it's like to me it's like promise. Like I love like one day you're walking and it's cold and there's no leaves on the tree and then all of a sudden you walk out and there's little green buds everywhere and it's just like
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry. It's like the promise of renewal and it's just like oh a new season is here. We all get to be fresh and we have the summer to look forward to. And it just, to me, spring is like that breath of hope that, yeah, we're going to do this again and it's going to be gorgeous.
I love that. I never looked at spring like that. Oh my God, you making me like spring now. Oh wow, that was so beautiful. I love
Oh, thank
that.
you.
You are so right. No, that was really good. But yeah, yeah, I kind of like spring because it kind of reminds me like we're ending school,
Yeah,
on
you're
to the,
getting there.
right, new beginnings. Yeah, I love that. Most definitely. Um, my next question for you is, what is the best thing about being a parent?
Ooh. Oh, this is a good one. Let me think a bit. What is the best thing? Because there's a lot of good things. Think the best thing that I'm experiencing right now is just you are you people. I had all these expectations of what my daughter would be. And
Right.
she is a none of those. And it is hilarious. Like I'm constantly looking at her and I'm like, who are you? Who are you going to be? And it's like, this is a real person. This is a whole human. And she's not this like character in my mind. She's her
Yes.
own person. And so every day I find myself just laughing because I'm like, that did not turn out the way I thought it was going to be because she's a person that has her own ideas. So,
Yeah.
yeah, being
Mhm.
constantly surprised and amused that I have another human walking around my house in a walker. She's not walking on her own. But
Right.
she's scooting around in this walker, like beating on things and like grabbing things. And I'm like, this is so funny. Like, what is she
That's
doing?
so cute.
What's in her mind?
Oh wow. That's amazing. So, I would love to know a little bit about your background history, like your childhood. So, where did you like grow up as a child and like what were you as a child? Like how were you like as a child?
Ooh, fun. Okay, so I grew up in Alabama. It was right
Mhm.
outside of Huntsville. I live in Huntsville now, which is a city. It's not a huge
Mhm.
city, but it's a city.
Right.
And I grew up in the county next to it when I was little. And so I was very what I now know in parent world is a compliant child, but I was a little people pleaser. I wanted all
Yeah.
the adults to like me. I was a little bit of a goody two shoes, and I was definitely one of those sweet kids that is always, trying to be the helper in the group.
Right.
And so I went to a small private school,
Right.
and it was great. I mean, I like had a lot of attention. The teachers were really good. And then
Mhm.
I will say it kind of got a little bit tough
Right.
because it was a Christian school and we were a different denomination, and there were just differences, and add into the fact of having a facial difference, and it was
Mhm.
much more pronounced when I was younger because I was going through those surgeries and having things appear and then be removed. And so
Right.
I dealt with a lot of kind of being the outsider. Um,
Mhm.
there were definitely bright spots. I definitely had friends, but there were also years where it was really tough. And
Right.
people were like, "Oh, you're not like me because you don't go to my church, or you don't, you know, my parents got divorced. Your parents are divorced, and that's bad." And of course, I had nothing to do with that and no way to fix that. So there were definitely some hard times, and I think it shaped me in a lot of ways.
Right.
I relied a lot on my mom, and
Right.
I relied a lot on my sister, and I relied a lot on just imagination. I was
Mhm.
very into my own head. So I like wrote
Right.
stories and I wrote poetry, and I was a big dreamer of things. Um, and yeah, that really shaped me. I was pretty introverted. I was very into school and studying. Uh, I I wanted to win every academic competition that there was because that was my escape from feeling
Yeah.
like I didn't belong. But
Right.
I knew if I win the geography B, or if I get the highest grade on this test, I belong here.
Right.
So great. It was good. It was good, but there was a lot of pain. And
Right.
I dealt with that pain by trying to prove myself. And that's a positive coping mechanism, but it definitely leaves some work to be done as an adult on that people please,
Right.
and helping. You got to remember to help yourself, and you got to remember that you're enough without having to prove yourself, so to speak. So
Yeah. Quick question. When did you like start noticing like I would say like your facial difference like you actually like looked at yourself and like started recognizing people actually staring like
ooh, that's a
mm,
really good question. I think it was probably second grade. I
second grade.
have this really distinct memory. We had a school play, and it was like the
Yeah.
Queen of Hearts, or it was like a play on Alice in Wonderland, but they only focused in on like the heart. So everybody was like a card from the deck, and then there was a Queen
Yeah.
of Hearts. And I remember like I had something go on, and my face was as red as the
Yeah.
red heart on my shirt, and somebody said something about it. And they're like,
Um,
"Oh my goodness, your face is so red. It matches your costume." And I was just like embarrassed. Like that's the first
right.
time I was like, "Ooh, that's not a good thing."
Right.
Yeah. So probably about
Mm,
second grade is when it really was very, very noticeable. And then if,
right.
you know, I'm not going to excuse it, but kids start
Right.
saying, "Oh, Erica the big chin," and things like that. And definitely other people go through worse
Right.
bullying, but they definitely teased me and said things like that. And it was started about second grade and really, really came to a head in fifth grade. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Cause I feel like that was a great question because like I really for me, I don't think I really noticed my facial difference until I would say fifth grade.
Okay.
Cause I was always so into sports and thankfully I had a great family. So they treated me normal. Like I didn't even have a facial difference. So, I'm walking, every day, to school, like I'm normal. Like, what are you talking about? I have no difference. What are you talking about? So like everyone's staring, I'm like, why are they staring at me? Like, what's going on? Like fifth grade. And
Yeah.
then I just hear like, comments and everything. And then that's when somebody said, "Oh my God, like, what happened to your face?" I'm like, thinking like, And I was shy. So I'm like looking around like why is she asking me like what's happened to my face? Like I'm normal. What are you talking about? I look just like you. So I was very shy. I think that at that point, like I like became mute because then everyone started constantly asking and I didn't feel comfortable at all. So that's when I noticed my facial difference. But yeah, that's how it all happened. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That dreaded question, what happened to your face? And once it starts, it's like it never stops.
yeah. And back then, like I wasn't used to it because I was new to it. So that really tear me apart because I'm like, why do they keep asking me? And like it was not even nice too. It was just like what happened to your face? Or like it was just they just said it so like negative and like so like I don't even know. It was horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for the listeners out there, that's not the way you ask the question.
no,
That is not the
no,
way to do it.
right. But like if someone asks me that like now, like like of course I'm gonna educate them, but like I'm not gonna like how I was like be mute, but like I know like you know, yeah.
Yeah. The first time you hear that, I mean, it's like your whole world just crashes down. And like
Right.
the embarrassment, like you feel like it it's still not a fun question to get, but I think you like you're saying now you don't like freak out. It doesn't
Yeah.
ruin your whole day.
Oh
But
no.
it can kind of like be like, this is gonna make me in a salty mood, but I'm not gonna like lose my entire self-confidence.
Right.
But when you're
Right.
in second grade, fifth grade, that question can take a huge toll and really knock you down farther
Yeah.
than you yet know how to pick yourself back up.
Yeah. Cause you're young and you're like trying to figure out who you are, like, So yeah. Yeah, to the listeners out there, you don't say that.
Not the way.
Yes. My next question for you is, do you feel differently about yourself now from how you felt when you were younger?
Definitely, 100%. I love being different now.
Yeah.
And I hated it before, but now it's like I genuinely can look in the mirror and see things that I love about myself. And I don't see my facial difference. I may see something like, oh my goodness, I have, a pimple
Right.
or something, and I find the wrong things, but I don't like ever obsess over my chin or my
Right.
lip or my scar or my asymmetry like that. I just don't have time for that anymore, and I'm so glad because that's not in my life. But yeah, I feel totally different, and um I just know that I have purpose and I have meaning. Those things are,
Yes.
and I think that a lot of that comes with age anyway. Like you
Yeah.
figure yourself out. You figure out where you belong in this world, and everybody goes to it to some degree. But as far as like the physical aspects of it, it's like it's not even on my radar. I definitely have bad days where I'm like looking rough.
Right. Like, right.
but
Yeah.
but it isn't about my facial difference. That's just
Right.
who I am now.
Isn't it the best feeling ever? Like, like you feel so good about yourself. Like, it's like the best.
It is.
Uh, I love being different. Like, it's like I was born to stand out. Like, I want you to stare. Like, I just love it. Like, come on, look at me. Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes your calling card. It's like,
It
hey, I've
does.
got something to say. Now you're looking, now that I have your attention,
Right.
please listen.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, it's an experience, and you
It
have
is.
learned something that
Right.
the other rest of the population hasn't had to get this
Right.
lesson. And so you've got knowledge, you've got definitely you have to learn a lot of those lessons faster
Right.
than other people. So
Right.
absolutely.
Right. Right. And like you said, it's different. Like, that story is different. It's unique. No one could tell it but you. So
Right.
yeah. My next question is, have you ever grown up having another career in mind, or you knew exactly from the jump you wanted to, do something beneficial for people with facial differences?
No, I did not. That's a great question. I did not know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to make a difference and I knew I
Right.
wanted to help. And so those are like always the things that I would say. But I went to school. I went to the University of Alabama on a scholarship.
Hmm.
And I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just like basically went to a couple of like the preview days, and I went to the School of Communications, and I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, this is everything I love. It's reading, it's speech writing, it's analyzing documents, like the papers, it's analyzing popular culture, it's learning how to facilitate conversations between people. I was like,
Right.
they make a degree in this? So I was like, this has got to be the school, the college that I choose to go to,
Right.
the College of Communications. And of course, you hear all the things, and I was in, going to school in a recession, and they're like, what are you going to do for a job? And I
Right.
really didn't know, but I knew that I was so passionate about the material that every class didn't feel like school. It felt like I was unlocking keys to the world. And I know that sounds so crazy, but to go from, growing up feeling silenced or not, not able to express myself, to going into the School of Communication where there's literally research on the best ways to, market and sell things, also the best ways to have an interpersonal relationship and get along with, your partners or your mother or whatever it was. There were classes. I literally took a class called Mother and Daughter and Conflict Negotiation and so many other ones. So basically I just love school. And when it came time to pick a career, it was a tough job market. And so having a communications degree, which isn't one of those like specific job paths, I did a lot of just random things right out of school. So for example, I worked at a paper selling ads because I was super I loved this paper. It was the Jackson Free Press in Jackson, Mississippi. And I just admired it so much. And I wanted to be a part of that team. I mean, naturally I wanted to be a writer for them, but they're like, no, not yet, but we'll let you sell some ads. So I did that, which really got me out of my comfort zone, talking to people. I managed Pier 1 imports for a while, like a retail career. So I did a lot of random things. I substitute taught, and all of that broadened my actual workable skills and also helped me figure out what I didn't want to do. You know what? I was really bad at putting up those visual displays at Pier 1. Who knew? I cannot decorate. So don't come to me for your interior decorating needs. Mine were always critiqued and written down by the regional manager. So
Oh
so
God.
you have to learn. But yeah, I mean, I volunteered a lot in college as well, and I just kept up the spirit of volunteerism, and that opened a lot of doors. So feel free, make mistakes, try a lot
Right.
of things. If you are good at something, volunteer to do it for free for a little while.
Right.
You got to know your worth. So I don't say like give your worth away, but if you are very young, do some things for free and you'll figure out if you like it or not. Because if there's no money attached to it and you still want to do it, it's more than a job, it's a calling.
Right, right. Like I tell like my friends that, and like people in general at college, like this is our time. Like we're young now. Like take advantage of what you do and like, the access we have at college. Cause like once you leave, like, it's all by yourself.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. Thanks to like this program at my school, it's called Trex program, which helped me get this internship right now for CCA. So like I tell everyone now like at school, like, oh, like I'm doing this internship. They're like, oh my God, like you're becoming a YouTuber. Oh my God, Alina, I just saw you on the thing. I'm like, yeah, that could be you. Like, take advantage of your time. We're all young. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Miss Erica, how did you know you wanted this position at CCA?
This was a good question because it's kind of also an interesting little historical fact about CCA. So I was serving on the board as kind of like a junior board member. I mean, I was a board member, but I was doing all the things like creating a Facebook for CCA and creating a web store. And at the time, the executive director, Shar Smith, who had been basically the only executive director of CCA, was thinking about retirement.
Right.
So I remember we were in a board strategy session, and they said, well, you need a succession plan. You need a plan for who might take this over next. And when you get those little like, ooh, tingly feelings, like, ooh, I might want to raise my hand to do that. Like
Right.
if we're going to pick somebody, I would love to put my name in the hat, so to speak, for that.
Right.
And that's kind of when I first knew maybe I want to do this because it's with the organization, an opening may be coming up. And so I started having, candid conversations with the board members at the time. Like, what would it take? What are the ethics of this? What are the legalities of this? Because right now I'm serving on the board. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing about the position
Right.
multiple years before it's ready to be due. And I had great advice. I had great mentors. The board members all kind of gave me their take on it. And one board member was like, I think you need to go back to school and get an advanced degree. So I went and got an MBA. And someone else said, I think you need to work part-time for the organization. Someone else said, as compliance, you need to rotate off the board because you can't be a part of picking yourself. So we had to plan for me to rotate off the board. So that's kind of how I knew, and that's kind of how it developed. So we had to follow a protocol, and I rotated off the board. And I decided, well, if I need this degree, I don't have a bunch of money sitting around to pay for it. So I applied and applied and applied and finally got a job at a university. And it was a great job. I really enjoyed the job. And while I was an employee there, I got free tuition. So I applied that to business school and completed my MBA while I was an employee at the university. And then when I was done, or I guess before I was done, as part of all of the projects, every project I did, I was like, CCA is my case study. Oh, we need a marketing plan, CCA. Oh, we need to analyze HR, CCA. Here's a job description. So I just use CCA as my case study throughout MBA school, and I had a nice little body of work to present at the end of it to say, I think I've done my due diligence. I think I'm ready. I would like to be considered for this position.
Oh, that's so cool. Ever since, like, I started working with you guys, the CCA, like, everybody's like, oh, you can use this, you can use CCA as this, you can use CCA as this. I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah.
the advantages you could have. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great advice for anybody out there. Like if you want to help a nonprofit and say you're in college and you're like, I don't know how I can help this nonprofit. I don't have a lot of money to donate.
Right.
Donating your time like you're doing, Aaliyah, like I did with like writing proposals for things, the
Yeah.
nonprofit may take it and be like, no, but it gives them something that they don't have time to do. Most of
Right.
the people working at the nonprofit don't have time to come up with a campaign or this or that. So yeah,
Right.
it's wonderful to use nonprofits as your group work or your case study.
Really.
Because you learn a lot and then you can offer something to them. Even if they don't take it, at least they're like having a chance to look over something that somebody's put
Yeah.
intelligent work towards. So it
I love
is.
it.
Yay.
Off topic. Any crazy dreams and goals in life?
Ooh, yes. Okay, so I want to go to Machu Picchu. Huge
What's
to
that?
me. So it's in Peru. It's like a trek. I want to do that trek. I had it scheduled and COVID happened, so got to go back. And then
Yeah.
what else? Crazy goals and dreams. Okay, I'm just gonna put it out there, internet. You heard it here first. So I went to Kilimanjaro and I did not summit, which is a mountain. It's not the tallest at all, but it's tall. And I didn't make it to the top, and I made it almost there. And I have to go back and I have to finish it. I have to do it again. So those are two of mine. Machu Picchu is considerably easier. Yeah. So that's kind of my crazy goals and dreams right now, top of mind.
Have you ever have you ever thought of skydiving?
Ooh, I have. I would be willing to do it. I haven't ever
Right?
done it, but I'm willing. If somebody
That's my
invites me, I'll go.
Yes, that's my dream to go skydiving. What's it called? I wanted to do it for my 18th birthday with my friends, but they were too young. So, you have to be 18, over 18.
Yes,
So hopefully I get to do it for my 21st, which is in a couple of months. Well, next
yeah,
month. Yeah, next month I'll be 21. Yeah.
definitely. Yes.
But I wouldn't want to do it like in Jersey where I'm from. I want to do it like in like a foreign place, like maybe like Dubai or Greece, like.
Yeah.
I'm
Cool.
sorry, I'm very bougie, so like I would love
Yeah.
to.
Take that, but add to it. I like
I love
it.
traveling and like exploring new places. So Very
That was
adventurous.
awesome.
But I
Yeah.
love that. You did what's it called? I can't even pronounce the word.
Kilimanjaro. Yes.
Kilimanjaro. Wow.
Kilimanjaro. I did.
That's a
Well,
lot of
I
climbing.
got
That's a lot of
almost to the top.
you did it either way. That's a lot of climbing though.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. I got
Yeah.
the altitude sickness and I passed out. And then, like, I had to go down because immediately, as you go down, you get better
Yeah.
from altitude sickness. The funny thing is, afterwards, talking to people, they're like, you only passed out once and you quit. You will pass out multiple times. It's fine.
Right.
So I did
Yeah.
not know that that was just part of the situation. But yeah.
Um, my last question for you is, do you have any advice that you wish your younger self would have received?
Oh, yes. First of all, I would say lives are long. So while it seems so intense right now, you're going to become more of yourself as you get older. Like you will develop coping mechanisms and you will develop skills and you will develop into someone that you want to be. Just keep at it. Like, don't give up. Know that you are exactly who you need to be. And if
Mm-hmm.
you have things you need to work on them. Make yourself a better version of yourself. But you are here for a reason. You're special. You're amazing. And definitely work on yourself. But know that your lifetime, it's going to evolve. You're going to evolve who you are. And so if you're in a spot where the people don't understand you, keep being you and keep edging out. Just edge out a little bit farther as you get the ability. Maybe you go to the edge of your school and there's still no one like you. Then maybe as you get older, you go to a bigger school. You might find more people. Your high school's bigger. There's more people. You graduate, you go to college, you start a job. You will meet so many people that if you stay being you, the right people will find you. Your people will be attracted to what you're putting out there. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
Beautiful. Love it. I like that. I like that. Cause once you're still young, everyone's still trying to figure out who they are, and I feel like everyone's trying to rush things nowadays.
Yeah.
Everyone's impatient, you got to be patient, let things flow,
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Greatness takes time.
It does.
Gotta simmer.
Right. You're gonna have ups and downs, but as long as you get through them, you're fine. You're gonna make it.
Yes.
Most definitely.
And I would say one more thing, because I do think this is important. If you are in like a really bad place and you feel like you can't go on, tell somebody. Like that's important. Don't suffer in silence, because just like people evolve, mental health resources are evolving, all sorts, addiction medicine, suicide prevention, all of these things are evolving. We are learning more and more about how to help people. So if you are just suffering in a way that's beyond what is just growing up, understand that that's okay. And there's resources out there to help you. So definitely reach out for help if it's serious, because people care about you and we want to give that help as we can.
Right. And there's so much resources out there, guys. Like, anyone is willing to listen. I'm willing to listen. So,
yes,
I love it.
We're willing to listen at CCA too. So
yes. We love everyone. So come join.
Absolutely.
But yes, thank you so much, Erica. It has been a pleasure chatting with you today. We appreciate you sharing your time and your story and your journey with us. Love it. I look forward to chatting with you again soon in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you, Aaliyah. This was so much fun. You are a wonderful interviewer, and I appreciate all the great questions.
Thank you. You were easy to talk to, so it was fun for me. So
Me too.
I love it. So I'll see you guys later. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Bye, everyone.